Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Thanks for providing this wonderful opportunity. So we are indebted to all of you for the great association which you provide. Kindly pray and bless me so that like the right way, I'll try to serve Srimad Bhagavatam. So the right word comes at the right time, which would be beneficial for all our spiritual progress. So I was just thinking about in my recent experiences, how the mind is important in our spiritual aspects, how we can manage the mind, and why mind is important, in which way we can direct the mind into the spiritual activities. Many of you might be aware of whatsoever topics which we are discussing. So it is for my own purification, so that I can bring this into the practicality. So I'll just share. Are you able to see the screen, Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, yeah. So because I put it in the presentation mode now. So we'll go with the sloka first. Yaval lingan vito hyatma tavat karma nibandhanam tato viparyaha klesho maya yogo anuvartate. Anyone wants to recite the sloka?
Yes, Prabhuji, can I try?
Yeah, please, Mataji.
Yavallinganvita hyatma tavat karma nibandhanam tato vipraya klesho maya yogo anuvartate. Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Mataji. Himanshu Prabhu, can you go with word to word?
Yes. Yavat, as long as linga anvita, covered by the subtle body. Hey, indeed, Atma, the soul, tavat, that long. Karma, of fruitive activities. Nibandhanam, bondage. Tata, from that. Viprayaha, reversal, wrong thinking the body to be the self. Klesaha, misery. Maya yoga, a strong relationship with the external illusory energy. Anuvartate, follows.
Thanks, Prabhu. Any guesses who recites this sloka? So in seventh canto, many of you know, the famous pastime comes any guesses who is reciting this sloka? It's very.
Is it Prahlad Maharaj, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna?
Prabhu, you are very close, sir. But it is not Prahlad Maharaj.
And is it Hiranyakashipu, Prabhu?
Huh?
Hiranyakashipu.
Yeah, correct, Prabhu. So.
I just guessed it, Prabhu.
Yeah, I know that it is a wild guess, because we never thought Hiranyakashipu would teach about a body, soul, that much of the analogy about the whole body and soul. So the translation, can you recite, Prabhu? Santakopeshwar Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Translation by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada. As long as the spirit soul is covered by the subtle body, consisting of mind, intelligence, and false ego, he is bound to the results of his spiritual activities. Because of this covering, the spirit soul is connected with the material energy and must accordingly suffer material conditions and reversals continuously, life after life.
Yeah. So the situation goes like this. Hiranyaksha been killed by Lord Varahadev, and the whole family of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha's wife, and everyone was like on a very sorrowful mood. So Hiranyakashipu decided to take revenge on Lord, and at the same time, he is consoling his whole family members by stating that okay, the body is not going to be live forever. So Hiranyaksha has a soul there, but only his body been killed, and you don't need to worry about it. So as long as the split soul is covered by the subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence, and false ego, is bound to the results of his fruitive activities. Because of this covering, the split soul is connected with the material energy and must accordingly suffer material conditions and reversals continually life after life. So Hiranyakashipu knows this very well. Okay, so we are not the body, we are the soul, but still he was unable to perform the spiritual activity. He knows what is the purpose of life. He knows whom he has to connect with, but he could not able to do it. Why? Because he was addicted to his senses. He wants to have that akankar, that mind, intelligence, ego. He was unable to control. He wants to show the world, okay, I am the powerful man or human in this whole universe. So that is the reason he performed a lot of austerities, and he got the boon from Brahma, whatsoever conditions he put. So let's go to the purport. Sadhu Sevan Prabhu, can you read the purport? It's very nicely explained.
Sure, Prabhu. It's not. Oh, I'm not able to see. Oh, Prabhu, I cannot see the.
You're unable
yes,
to see the
now I
purport,
can
Prabhu?
see. Yeah, now I can see, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay, Prabhu.
So,
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
purport by his.
I think he's traveling or
Prabhu, I
something.
think your voice.
Jai Shri bound by the. Audible, Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu, it is little feeble.
Because I think he's in Vrindavan, no network
Yeah,
coverage,
yeah.
probably the place
Yeah,
where
correct, Prabhu. He's in Goloka Vrindavan. So,
Prabhu.
Prabhu, in the interest of time,
Yeah,
can Venkat Prabhu
yeah.
read this?
Sure, Prabhuji. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam, Prabhu. Purport brief. Divine Grace, Asia Bhakti Vedanta, Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The living entity is bound by the subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence, and false ego. At the time of death, therefore, the position of the mind becomes the cause for the next body. Prabhu, should I continue or?
Yeah, please continue,
Okay,
Prabhu. Yeah, another two statement.
Okay, Prabhu. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 8.6, Yam Yam Vapis Maran Bhavam Tante Kalevaram. At the time of death, the mind sets the criteria for the spirit soul being carried to another type of body. If a living being resists the dictation of the mind and engages the mind in the loving service of the Lord, the mind cannot degrade him. The duty of all human beings, therefore, is to keep the mind always engaged in the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vinda Yeho. When the mind is engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna, the intelligence is purified, and then the intelligence get inspiration from the super soul. Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Thus, the living entity makes progress towards liberation from material bondage. The individual living soul is subject to the laws of fruitive activity, but the super soul, Paramatma, is not affected by the fruitive activities of the individual soul. As confirmed in the Vedic Upanishad, the Paramatma and the Jivatma are who are linked to two birds are sitting in the body. The Jivatma is enjoying or suffering by eating the fruits of the bodily activities, but the Paramatma, who is free from such bondage, witnesses and sanctions the activities of the individual soul as the individual soul desires. Haribol.
Yeah, Thanks, Prabhu. So
Thank
very
you.
nicely explained by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The position of the mind becomes the cause for the next body. So in what state like we quit our body during the time of like a death, so we become it becomes like our next body. So we know like in Bharata Maharaj case, he was thinking about deer like and he got the body of deer like in his next life. So the at the time of death, the mind sets the criteria for the spirit souls being carried to another body. So uh, the gross body don't come along with us like but the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, ego, comes along with us like so when we change the body, but we still carry the old mind, intelligence, and ego. So resist the, if a living being resists the dictation of the mind, okay, if we dictate our mind, okay, you don't get engaged in the material activities but engaged in the loving service of the Lord, then mind cannot degrade him like so it is about the practice like even Arjuna says like a sanchalam ki manaha Krishna pramati balavadradam. So I may able to control the wind, but I am unable to control the mind. So wind is we all know like the tornadoes and etc happen in many time in US, correct? Like they may predict the tornado happening on this day, but they can never prevent the tornado, correct? But Arjuna here saying a tornado is that much powerful, the wind is that much powerful, but Arjuna is saying I may be able to control the wind, but I may not be able to control the mind. I am unable to control the mind. Then we see like a how much powerful the mind is, because now we may be in Dubai, or like we may be in Vrindavan, suddenly our mind goes to like a US, then from Europe, like from there to Australia. So you hear any news, or like you think about anything like your mind immediately travels that particular place. So mind is so powerful, like it is unable to control. So the reason like acharyas, everyone saying that keep the mind always engaged at the lotus feet of the Lord, like savai mana Krishna padaravindur. Ambrish Maharaj like mentions how to engage our mind and like all our senses in the service of the Lord. Okay, when the mind is purified and it is being channelized, okay, our intelligence will get purified. Like we will see the connection between senses, mind, and intelligence, like how it is connected. So Jivatma has a option like to enjoy or suffer. If it wants to enjoy, then obviously like it has to connect to the spiritual activities. If it wants to suffer, like it can connect to the material activities. So our whole this 45 minutes to 1 hour session like a why mind is important and how we can control the mind, plus like a during the very turbulent times like a how to make it the mind straight like a. So that is the whole agenda which we will cover. So this is the relation like a the senses, mind, and intelligence, like a how it is connected. We will take an example like okay, our analogy where ice cream. So on the roads, like if you go, you are seeing a great ice cream shop, and there you just see like suddenly your senses are getting tempted. Okay, your eyes are seeing the new ice creams. Then your tongue wants like okay, I want to taste the ice cream. So these senses are just like a doing the temptation. Then it is signaling to the mind. So mind is nothing but storehouse of thoughts, which is like a mostly unfulfilled desires, and with previous experiences like it is having so many thoughts like mostly whatever desires are fulfilled, we don't store it in mind like that is our regular practice of the mind. And mostly like a unfulfilled desires, okay, I didn't get this particular thing, I didn't get this one. So those things are getting stored, and immediately like it is signaling to the intelligence, okay, I want to enjoy the ice cream because the ice cream is so sweet and so tasty. So it is giving the order to the intelligence like okay, intelligence immediately saying okay, you go and pay the money to the shop and get the ice cream I want to enjoy. Like this is how the connectivity goes. So mind plays an important role to the intelligence. Okay, if mind is uncontrolled, if you are unable to control the thoughts or like a desires in the mind level, then you cannot control at the intelligence level. Like so it has to be controlled at the mind level. So that mind, uh, you just see in the mind also, like there is a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. So conscious mind, like while you're interacting with anyone, you would be like a consciously interacting with them in the conversations. But a subconscious mind thinks, okay, this guy ditched me like in that particular activity, so I need to be very careful, like because our mind is a processing engine which would be doing like a lot of processing about that particular activity happening during that particular time. So subconscious mind is 30,000 more powerful than conscious mind. Like so we need to be very, very careful what we store in our mind. So it is a storehouse of like a unfulfilled desires and the previous experiences. So we need to be consciously like a ensure that we store good thoughts in our mind, so that like our activity and our action be in a very good manner. Like that is consciously, like we need to start to do that particular thing. So this is a mechanism of the mind. So here the connection between like okay, how the senses, mind, intelligence, and acting in a way like to control the higher self, like which is jivatma. So horses are nothing but the senses, which we saw. Like then the driver is the whole body is like okay, it is a chariot, and in the chariot, like horses are the senses, and the driver is like the intelligent intellect is the driver, and the passenger is like the higher self, which is jivatma, and the reins, like which the driver uses to control the horses, is mind. So if uh, the reins are like a very loosely coupled, or like a tightly coupled, due to by that basis, like we will be able to control the whole chariot in a right way. So if the reins broke, or like if it is unable to control, like then the horses would be going in their own way. So for example, like each horse has been represented in the sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and brain. Like it will act okay. The ears would say, okay, I want to hear the beautiful movie song, like which got released yesterday. Then the hand will say, okay, I need to go and buy the ice cream. Like the tongue says, okay, I want to enjoy the pizza, like which has been given as offer. So if you are unable to control the mind, like by using the reins, each horse or each sense, like will go on its own way. Then the driver uh, is unable to control the senses and unable to control the mind. So with that particular unconscious mind, you will be able to dwell into like the material world with the identity or ego. Like it would be so much of ahankar would be there. Then that mindset would be like a rotating in the material world itself. If with conscious mind you are able to control the senses by using the right mind, then your intelligence, like by using your intelligence, then you will be able to uh, find the higher self, like for that particular atma. So that is a whole aspect of this particular depiction. So we see like a lot of acharyas like talk about mind, starting from Krishna. If you see, Arjuna also talking about mind. Krishna is talking about mind, like in Bhagavad Gita 9.34, like he's saying, Man mana bhava madbhakto. Then Arjuna is talking about mind, like a Sanchalam ki mana Krishna. Then Govinda Dasa is talking about like a Bhajahure mana. So everyone is saying like a talk to the mind. Why we need to talk to the mind? So how come like a mind is playing such an important role in our daily the material activities as well as spiritual activities? Because how we can identify the mind. We all know like a gross body is made up of like a bhumi rapo anala vayu kamano buddhi devacha. Okay, a gross body is nothing but like the panchapuda, like it is made up of. Once we die, like our body the gross body, like we don't carry to the next body. So that is the leave and go, like we will leave this current body and we will go to the next body. But the subtle body, like which I mentioned already, it comes along with us like a no exchange until we are in this material world. Like the subtle body is our constant companion until we go to the Goloka. So the subtle body like with us all the time. So we need to be like a very careful about channelizing our mind, because the mind is inside us. It is inside us, but it is not us, because like a we cannot see the mind. We are not the mind, but we are the soul. But that mind is inside us, like a, which is directing us to do which activity. So we need to be very very careful to our mind, like we need to talk to our mind, so that we are able to channelize like in a proper way. So we all know like Arjuna is talking about mind, Krishna is talking about mind. So let us see like this Bhajakure Mana in a um, very crisp manner, like a so I'll just sing Bhajahure Mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Durlabha Manava Chanama Sat Sange Tarohaye Baba Sindhure. So O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which make one fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons. So Govinda Dasa is saying, Bhajakure Mana. He is talking to mind. Okay, mind, please surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Nanda Nandana, like lotus feet of Krishna. Why? Because like hey, that will make us fearless. Abhaya Charanara Vindare. So if you surrender to the lotus feet of Lord, then you would be fearless. Then he is saying Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange. Okay, this having obtained this rare human birth. So how we can say that okay, human birth is very very rare? Yes, um, Krishna also says like a Bahunam Janmanamante, then Samahatma Sudurlabhaga, like here saying it is Durlabha Manava Jatsange, Janama Satsange. Okay, how we can understand? Because we see like in this world there are n number of human beings, like the population is so much, but sometimes we may see okay animals are getting thrashed by like the humans, and how we can say like human beings are uh, very very durlabha, like it is very very rare, this human birth. How to understand? So we will just take this particular thing. So the human life is rare because out of 84 lakh species, 9 lakh species are like aquatics, and 30 lakh species are like a beast, and 10 lakh species are like a birds, 11 lakh species are like a insects, and 20 lakh species are like a plants and trees. So all these species are there, but only 4 lakh species are human beings. Out of this 4 lakh species also, the non-Aryans, like a that has been classified as from this 4 lakh species, non-Aryans and Aryans are there. Non-Aryans are like a uncivilized, and Aryans are like a civilized. From the Aryans, like we will see unrighteous and righteous, like who would be able to some from the righteous also, like we will be able to see someone who is not attached to like the karma kanda. Okay, they are not following like any karma kanda activity. Some would be like following the fruitive activities. Out of that fruitive activities, like some who likes to go for a liberation, some who likes to practice like as a Krishna bhakta. So it is in that classification. If you see like so many of that classification are there from that 4 lakh species. That human beings are very rare, because uh, if you see all the other things like aquatic species are more, and plants are more, like insects species are more, but human species are very less. And in that particular thing, the being a Krishna bhakta and getting association with the right level of devotees are very very rare. So we all need to pat on our back, like because we got the rarest of the association in this lifetime. We don't know like how many lifetimes we struggle to get this particular association. So we need to utilize that association and uh, need to have a desire to go to the Goloka like in this lifetime. So that has to be our main motto of our life. And having the human life, but how come like the association is so rare? So that has been very nicely explained in 11.2.29 sloka. So durlabo manuso dego deginam shana ban tatrapi durlabam manye vaikunta priya darshanam. First of all, like, okay, durlabha manusho dego. So to obtain the body of a human is very rare. For the conditioned souls, the human body is most difficult to achieve, and it can be lost at any moment, because we know like a based upon our karma we may get like a out of this 84 lakh species, which body we are going to get, like that all depends upon our karma, past reaction, like a current activity. But I think that even those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of pure devotees who are very dear to the Lord of Vaikunta Priya Darshanam. So vision of Lord and like a Lord's devotee is even more rare, like a Tatrapi Durlabam Manye. So very rare, like a to get that association, and we got that association, and we need to utilize that association in a right way. So that has been then we can understand, okay, having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons. So for this particular thing, that sloka was referred Vaikunta Priya Darshanam, like to have that Vaikunta Priya Darshanam is very rare, and we need to make use of this body and mind, like to go to that particular association, and like to go back to our original home. So how while crossing this ocean of worldly existence, like we all know, to cross the ocean of uh, ocean, we need to have the boat. That boat is nothing but like the body given to us. In that body, like the senses and the mind, intelligence, ego been utilized, like okay. So by using that mind, we need to connect to the spiritual thing. But what we are doing, okay, I got a good body, and I got like a good wealth and health, etc. So I got like a good family members. So instead of like a realizing and trying to go back to Godhead, what we are doing, okay, we are enjoying in this boat. Okay, we try to satisfy our senses. We think, okay, gaining the good education, good job, like is the motive of the life. So that has to be thoughtfully, like we need to hammer our thoughts in our mind. Okay, every day, uh, the life been given to me, this body is given to me to serve the Lord, and this is not the place I want to be. I need to go back to the original place like where I belong to. So we need to keep on like reminding our the senses and mind and like the intelligence, so everything, so that like the soul will attain the its original place. Okay, so we are enjoying in this boat. Then he's saying like how we are enjoying. Sita atapa bata barishana edina jamini jagire bipale sevinu kripana duranjana chapala sukhalaba lagire. So how they are enjoying both in the day and at the night. I remain sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold and the wind and the rain. So the humans are trying or like understanding that, okay, they are enjoying, actually like they are suffering in this material world, because this is dukalayam ashusham, sorry, dukalayam ashashwatam. There is no permanent happiness here. But with that like a flickering happiness, for a fraction of flickering happiness, I have uselessly served wicked and miserly men. So how we can say that, okay, I am saving kripana and durajana. So we are serving the picked and miserly man. So how we can understand why we need to say that like it is a wicked or sinful person? Because we are all utilizing the property of Krishna, but we are not serving to that to the real existence of that particular thing. So we are utilizing it for our own sense pleasure, for our own happiness, but we are forgetting like the real master and the real owner. We are thinking, okay, ourselves first. Okay, we are the owner of this house. We are owner of like a everything. I am the owner of like a, this particular company, etc., etc., and not serving it back, because like a Lord given us all these facilities like a so that we understand the importance of like a Lord, and we understand the connection with Him. But we are just like a forgetting, and we are doing a lot of sinful activities like a. So if we are not utilizing for the purpose of life like a what it has been given, then we are the sinful like a we are the durajana, so wicked man. And the miserly man, because like a miserly man also, so we are not serving even for chanting also like if you see, Lord has given 24 hours in a day, and he's asking like a only 2 hours. If suppose like a, you are giving 24 laddus like a to your kid, and if the kid is like a consuming all the 24 without even giving like a, any one or two laddu, then we would be like a so what to say, why my kid is like a so selfish, why can't like a, she give one or two laddu like a for me, or like a for my surroundings. So that is how we are doing, like a Lord has given us 24 hours, but not even like a 2 hours we are unable to give it back to him like in the way of like a connection in the chanting. That is not going to benefit him, it is going to benefit us only, but still we are not doing it, or like we are doing it very in a reluctant manner, not in a happiness happy mood. So that has to be like understood. And we are how that a fraction of flickering happiness, how we can understand this like a you are traversing a great desert like a which is very very tough to travel, and you are going like a, you are spending a lot of your time to go into that particular desert just to find a drop of water. So that is what we are doing in this material world, to find the sensual pleasure like it is nothing but nothing is permanent, we all know, correct? So but the drop of water like the happiness what we get in this material world is nothing but a drop of water which you get in desert like but going through all the difficulties. So we have to remind of like this particular thing. Okay, nothing is going to be permanent in this material world, so please like get your the spiritual account fulfilled, spiritual account like enhanced by doing all the spiritual activities. Okay, then whatever we gain here like there is no permanent things, so that has been explained in the next stanza. Edana yaubana putra parijana itihi ache parati tire kamala dala jala jivana talamala Bajahu Pada Nitire. What assurance of real happiness is there in all of one's wealth, youthfulness, sons, and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari. So he is again talking to his mind. So Govinda Dasa is talking to mind. Please, like okay, ensure that you just surrender to Lord, and this human life is very very rare, and you just like make use of it by using the proper association, because like here nothing is permanent. And don't serve like the kripana and the duranjana people, because whatever whomsoever like we are serving, if they are not connected to the Lord, like they are nothing but kripana and duranjana, because all these chapala sukha like the fraction of flickering happiness like we don't want. And whatever you are getting that happiness like whatever uh, you are getting like by serving all of them, it is not a real happiness, because like all those things whatever the youth, wealth, son and family members, everything like it will go away anytime. They are nothing like okay, talking like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore you should always serve like the divine feet of Lord Hari. Then he's saying how you need to serve. So he's saying like now you should not serve all of them, but he's saying now like how you need to serve the Lord Hari. Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dasya Re Pujana Sakhi Jana Atma Nivedana Govinda Dasa Abhilasha Re. Govinda Adasha Abhilasha Re. It is a desire and a great longing of Govinda Dasa to engage himself in the nine process of bhakti, namely hearing the glories of the Lord Hari and chanting these glories constantly, remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshipping him with the flowers and incense, and so forth, serving him as a friend and completely offering the Lord one's very self. So we got the gist of like what Govinda Dasa is talking to his mind. So Bacha Huraimana. So whenever like we hear this particular song, like okay, he's instructing his mind to not to serve like the wicked and the miserly man, but to serve, surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord with a proper association. And because like this human birth is rare, and by what kind of like in the process is Sravana Kirtana, Smarana Vandana, like a Pada Sevana, all these things, nine process of bhakti, try to serve the Lord like in that manner. So this is how like a Govinda Dasa is talking to his mind. Uh, we know like a Arjuna talked to his mind, like a Krishna is saying Man Manabhava Mad Bhakto Mat Yajimam Namaskuru. So in 9.34, like which is a which is the center of like a 700 slokas, which is exactly in the middle of like a the 700 slokas. If you split like the 700 slokas, so exactly he's talking like a man mana bhava mat bhakto. So engage your mind by thinking about me, then surrender to me, like then pay obeisances, like uh, so why mind is so important? We know like all these acharyas are talking about mind. So why mind is so important? Because like a mind is a one thing, though we are not the mind, but it is inside us, like which is guiding. So mind is the one who can take away us from Krishna, or it can connect with Krishna. So we all know like hey, the mind is the good friend or enemy as well. So if we channelize our mind in a spiritual way, then it can connect us with Krishna. If we are unable to control the mind, and we are engaging the senses and mind like in the sensual pleasure, like a material activities, then it will take us away from the Krishna. So that has to be understood. Like then mind studies us like and trying to find weak points, as we saw like in the previous slides. So mind is a storehouse of like unfulfilled desires. The unfulfilled desires, like it studies us. For example, like you want to go for a car ride, like you had a plan, and suddenly like it got spoiled due to various unavoidable reasons. So immediately like the next time you are, while you are planning, you are thinking, okay, last time I planned and it didn't go well, so this time I need to be like planning well. I need to ensure that, like it has to go in a good manner. So that is how like a mind studies us and trying to find weak points, and it is saying, okay, you may fail, so take this approach, but do this particular activity. So likewise, like a it keeps on engaging you into like okay many activities. So if you are unable to control the mind to channelize the activities to spiritual thing, then mind will control us. Like a mind will dictate us. Okay, do this particular activity. This will give you your sense pleasure. Like this will give you good fame in the society. This will give you like a good position in your office. So that is how like a mind will try to cheat us. So we need to channelize the mind like in a proper manner. So the temptations, like a we always like get the temptations uh, to engage our senses, but we should not welcome us, like that has been explained in the 16.16 sloka. See here, right, and take that particular sloka. So what it says is like a so if you are able to if you are unable to control your mind, then you get addicted to that particular temptation, and we should not welcome that temptation. It may come, and we need to find a way to channelize it but by wanting that temptation, okay, I want to eat this ice cream, I want to eat this gulab jamun, like if you have the temptation, you go and like get that particular thing, the mind will direct you like to go and get that particular thing. So that we should not welcome those temptations. How we can understand is in a Google office, like they did one study where they put the sweets in a transparent box, like where many of them got tempted to taste that particular thing. So the consumption was more like the more chocolates or like sweets got consumed. But the next week, like what they have done is they put those sweets or chocolates in the translucent box, like where you cannot see what is inside in the particular box. So then the consumption, because like the employee goes here and there, he may see the box or like the bottle, but he don't know like what is inside that particular bottle. So then that particular week, like the consumption got reduced than while they put it in the transparent box, like a so but still consumption was there, because like a the translucent box may hide the things what is inside. It may be out of sight but not out of mind, like many would know, okay, I get the sweets or chocolate like if I go there. So in their mind it was there, like so there was a consumption. So control of the mind, how we can control the mind, like it is possible only if we have the proper or higher purpose, like so in this particular thing the purpose is very very important, because if we have the right purpose, the proper purpose, then we will be able to channelize our mind. So in this aspect we will take a example from like the Ramayana. Sugriva like got tempted two times. One is like once his brother Wali been killed during that 4 months, like that Chaturmasa was there. So he was completely immersed in like intoxication, because he knows that like okay, now no one is there to defeat me or like to defame me, so I can enjoy like in that intoxication. He was completely like forgot what he give us assurance to Lord Rama and Lakshmana. He completely forgot, like then that 4 months like he was intoxicated. Then Lord Rama is taking the help of like Hanuman and Lakshmana to remind Sugriva, okay, we need to have the task to be done, so come and like help us. So in that particular situation, um, he didn't have the purpose, so the reason like he got intoxicated like in that 4 months, and he completely forgot the task what he's supposed to do. But the second time when he got tempted was like when they supposed to cross the bridge to Lanka, to land into Lanka. So during that time, like Ravana understood, okay, the Sugriva's army is very powerful. So he tempted Sugriva by giving various options, such as, okay, I give a lot of my wealth to you. Please don't fight like on the side of Rama, you come and join our army, so that like we can be a winner. But during that time, he completely rejected that proposal, and he told that, okay, I am not going to be on the side of you, but I will be on the side of like a Rama, because this time he had the purpose. He even pulled the messenger who came like on that particular proposal, and he taken him to Rama, and he told that like he is giving this kind of proposal to me, so let me kill him. So that is the way like he got away from the temptation. So because like at this time he has a higher purpose, he knows that, okay, we need to have the mission accomplished. We need to take away Sitama from like Ravana, and we need to get her like a associated with Lord Rama. So when we have the higher purpose, like a we will be able to control the mind. So we need to have that particular thing. Okay, every day we need to educate the mind. Okay, what is the purpose of my chanting? What is the purpose of my devotional activities? What is the purpose of like I get associated? What is the purpose of like I get to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam? So that purpose comes only if we read scriptures and with association, like there is no doubt. Because if we don't have the association, if we don't read the scripture, then like the purpose will not come, because the purpose will come only if we read the scripture, and that scripture only says, okay, what is the purpose of life, and how we can go back to Godhead, like our original place. So the purpose gives us the determination to overcome the temptation. So first of all, to get away from this material world, we need to overcome the temptation. To overcome the temptation, we need to have the determination. What gives the determination is nothing but the higher purpose. So we need to re-establish our relationship with the Lord. So that has to be our purpose, and go back to our original home, back to God. So that has to be our purpose, and that purpose will give that purpose gives us the determination to overcome the temptation. This has to be fixed in our mind. So we may see the temptations are the problem when we look at that there would be a very big building. So down to from down, if you see that building, it may be very big. But if you see via helicopter, when you connect to the higher, that building looks very small. The same way, the problem may look very big, when we see from the outside. But if you connect to the higher, when we connect to the Supreme Lord, then the problem may look very, very smaller. So that's what someone will say. Don't say that how big the problem is. Tell the problem how big our Supreme Lord is. So that the problem will go away. So that has to be our understanding, and that has to be our thought process on this particular thing. So the human life, which we already saw. So bhakti is not about emptying mind from the temptation. Okay, we need to control, or we need to get away from the temptation, correct? That we understood. We need to have the determination. That determination will come if we have a higher purpose. So how it is not about only emptying the mind with the temptation, but crowd our mind with Krishna's pastimes and seva. Then only because mind is a it has to occupy something, correct? Rather than putting a lot of unwanted desires, you put a mind with all the Krishna's pastime and seva, so that it won't go into the temptation mode. It will get consumed with connecting with the proper association, and help us to do the devotional service. So mind can be compared to the sharpened knife. The knife can be utilized by the surgeon to save the life. At the same time, the knife can be used to create the violence, by the miscreants as well. So which purpose we are using? If it is a friend, you can use it for right purpose. If it is becoming enemy, you will use it for the wrong purpose. So that has to be understood. So the sense gratification, how we can control the senses. So the senses, we need to control. For material activities, we need to control, or we need to delay in sense gratification. For example, okay, our mind is dictating. Okay, there is a movie being released, and we need to immediately see that movie. So if any material things comes into our mind, rather than gratifying, or rather than approving it immediately, we need to delay that. So while delaying, okay, now I will not see the movie. Let me see in the night, or tomorrow I will see. By just postponing that sense gratification, first of all, we are not getting addicted to the mind, or we are not controlling we are not getting controlled by the mind. We are controlling the mind. We are instructing, okay, I will try to I will try to see the movie, but not this time. I will try to see it in the later time. So rather than deny, because if you say deny, okay, I will not see the movie, then what mind will think? No, 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 I need to see the movie. Even if you get engaged in that particular time, the spiritual activity, the mind will think, okay, oh, I could not able to see the movie. What is the purpose of this chanting? And we will not be able to do that particular spiritual activity in a right manner. So rather than denying, try to delay, so that it becomes a practice. Okay, now we don't need to see the movie. Let us see later. During that time, we will see some other reasons for delaying again. So by doing that, we will be able to get engaged in the spiritual thing. The same way, like as while the prostitute reached approaching Haridas Thakur, Haridas Thakur said, like, okay, please wait, my rounds are yet to be completed, like let me complete my rounds, then I will come and speak to you, like so that is how he delayed. That delay ensured that, like, okay, that prostitute got so attracted to the chanting of like a Haridas Thakur and his determination, because he has a higher purpose, like so that has to be our motive. So but this is from the material things, but from the Krishna consciousness aspects, like a don't delay, we need to do it like a immediately. There is one instance where like a one Maharaj was saying, you need to chant immediately and take the japamala and chant it. Then immediately the devotee was saying, no, Guru Maharaj, like a no Maharaj, the Vaikunta Ekadasi is coming like next week, so let me wait and let me chant from that particular Vaikunta Ekadasi. Then Maharaj told, okay, you are not sure whether you will live till that Vaikunta Ekadashi. So try to chant, try to start your spiritual journey now itself. Like a for spiritual journey, there is no auspicious time. Every time is like an auspicious, and don't delay at all. Like a, so don't wait and do it now. So in spiritual activities, like a delay the things, but in Krishna consciousness, sorry, material things, like a delay the things, and for Krishna consciousness things, like a don't delay and do it right away. So best way to deal with the temptation is like a not to deal with at all, or delay the process, like or forcefully push ourselves to the Krishna. So that has to be our this one. So association with the right mind of people is very important, not like-minded people. So this is very nicely explained. We also had some instances where Mataji is like a, while they were in Dubai, Preeta, Pooja Mataji and Aparna Mataji used to talk to themselves by saying that, okay, tomorrow Mangala, are you attending? If one says, okay, I may be doubtful, then all three will not come. If one say, okay, I will try to come, the other two will discuss, okay, whether we need to go or not. Then they will decide, like so that is kind of like-minded people. So we should not associate with the like-minded people, but we need to associate with the right-minded people, like a faith. We need to associate with a very right-minded people, like who is going to uplift our Krishna consciousness and the spiritual journey. So that is very important. Then okay, this is very, very nicely explained by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. So the mind tends to do what we don't intend to do, like, okay, because we intend to do something, but mind will say, no, no, don't do this. Like it gives various options, so which will distract us, like to do the devotional things, while starting from like getting up from the bed till like going to the bed, it will give various reasons, like to delay the things, or to delay the spiritual things, like so that is very important. So why mind is like impelling us negatively? Because it is impressions formed on it, like by our past actions in either this life or like a previous life. Those are the actions, like which is guiding us, like in terms of how we need to act, how we need to reciprocate, like for the spiritual thing and material thing. So from that impressions, like arises the impulses that will lead into like a self-destructive actions that becomes habit. So from the actions, like the impressions being formed, from impressions, like the impulses, from the impulses, like the self-destructive actions, that becomes the habit. So that habits are like a kind of mental inclination, and which is kind of like, okay, if you see the water flow is traverse towards the uh, material activities. How we will be able to channelize that water flow, like okay, reversely to the spiritual activities? That is very, very tough, like but it is possible by reconstructing the floor that becomes like a incline in the opposite direction, because your all our habit and the mind, everything was like a inclined towards the material things. We need to tilt that to the spiritual thing, So we need to push our consciousness and reconstruct our inner floor, so that like by practicing the bhakti yoga only it is possible. So we need to have a higher purpose, we need to have that determination, and we need to have like that out of temptation policy. So then how bhakti yoga like will equip us like to change the flow from spiritual material things to spiritual thing. So while Arjuna asking like to Krishna, Sanchalam ki manaha Krishna, so it is impossible for me to control the mind. Then Krishna is responding, okay, it is possible. I completely understand like what you say. It is correct, but at the same time, it is possible to control the mind or to channelize the mind with the abhyasa and the vairagya. So that abhyasa and vairagya, it is possible. That abhyasa is nothing but like the practice, and the vairagya is nothing but like the renunciation. So that is very nicely explained by Prabhu, because we live in an age of like a unprecedented distractions. We have like so many distractions. You see like okay, outside the world, if you go to the street, you have n number of things to distract like our mind, starting from restaurant like the movie shop and the shopping mall, etc., etc., and we should not get attached to those things, but at the same time we need to control the mind with those higher purpose. So the abhyasa and vairagya is very nicely explained by Prabhu with feeding and fencing. Feeding is nothing but like what we feed. We need to feed the mind uh, in a proper way, like so that it is exposing it to the stimuli that will fill it with the reflective and constructive energy. So we need to feed the mind with the good thoughts and spiritual stimuli, like okay, chanting Mangala Arati, reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and Kirtan, like all these things we need to feed to the mind. Okay, that is the way we need to cultivate the bhakti in us, and that is the abhyasa we need to practice. We need to feed the mind with all these things, and we need to put a fence, the renunciation. Fencing can prevent the distracting stimuli from reaching our mind, and our mind from reaching them. So for example, like a control the usage of devices for sense pleasure, okay, I will use the mobile and the smartphone devices only for like a official purpose, as well as to read the scriptures. So then we will not while we meet in our congregation or association, we will not talk about others, we will not talk about the prajalpa. So all these things we need to put a fence. Okay, if someone is talking a prajalpa, then we need to get away from that particular place. So by having this feeding abhyasa and fencing, which is vairagya, then we will be able to control the mind. So this is the mind management which we need to start practicing. We need to every day we need to analyze us. Okay, how much I feed to my mind, to my soul, the spiritual activities, and how much fencing I have done the vairagya, to better focus the mind, feed it with healthy spiritual stimuli, and fence it with from the unhealthy sensual stimuli. So this feeding and fencing is very important thing which we need to bring it to the practice in our daily day-to-day life. So this is what Lord Krishna is saying, where Sri Bhagavan Vacha Asamsayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grehete. So it is possible only by Abhyasa as well as Vairagya, which is feeding and fencing. So our greatest power is not the power we have over others, but the power we have over ourselves, how we are controlling ourselves, in those temptations, tempting situations, from the material things to the spiritual thing. So that is how we need to start controlling our mind by having this abhyasa and vairagya. So we saw, okay, what is mind, why we need to talk to our mind, why we need to how we will be able to control the mind. But it is possible when you are in a steady state, but it would be very very tough when you are in turbulent state, because turbulent state is very tough to uh, go through, tough to accept it. Like for example, what is turbulence? Like it is an unexpected situation. When things are going fine, like a whatever you are speaking on, whatever like you are doing is possible. But when things are like a unexpected, for example, sudden demise in a family, or like the COVID situation, it was very very tough, like to handle that situation, to practice bhakti in that particular situation. So because like a death leaves a heart attack, like no one can heal, but love leaves a memory no one can steal. So we need to have that particular thought in the mind. So how we can practice controlling our mind during this um, turbulent situation, how we can remain steady in during this situation, like so for example, one particular time, his holiness like Indradumna Swami Maharaj, uh, he could able to find like some tumor in his body. In the tumor, like there was two category. One is like a malignant, and another is benign. Like a malignant is very harmful, and benign is okay. Like so he give the analysis in the lab report on a Friday late evening. So then he was expecting like when the result will come. The lab technician told like, okay, sir, it will take 2 to 3 days. Then he was like so anxious about like whether it is going to be malignant or like the benign, and how I'm going to face this situation. Like if it is malignant, like how long I am going to live for that. Yes, I have many tasks to be yet to done, like for on the Srila Prabhupada's mission. So how I am going to do this particular thing. So he was calling like a next day, the Saturday, he was calling the lab. Like a lab told that Maharaj, like it is not yet ready, you need to wait like for some more time. So then on Sunday, like he again called. Luckily, like the report got ready, but initially, like they didn't mention anything. Then later they told Maharaj, like you don't need to worry, it is a deniant only, it is not a malignant. So then Indra Maharaj like felt how that unexpected situation uh, bothers him and changed him. Like so then he started how we need to prepare for the uncontrollable situation. It would be very tough, like it may be easy to say, but very tough to practice, like make it as a practice. So that unexpected situation may come at any time, because this material world like is full of the unexpected situations. So we need to have the renounced spirit. So we need to have that particular thought in mind, where we are not we are not the owner of this particular apartment or like a particular body. We are just a custodian, and we may ask to vacate anytime. As you are not owning any apartment, like if you got the rent for that particular apartment, you've been asked to go anytime from that particular apartment. The same way, this body is given for us, like a to realize the connection to the Lord, and go back from this material world, like to the spiritual world. So we need to utilize, we need to think about it, and we need to understand this is not the permanent thing. We are just a custodian. We just a custodian, like hey, and we may ask to go anytime, we may ask to vacate anytime. So that has to be like a the renounced spirit. In that manner, if we practice the bhakti, then it would be possible like for us to control the mind. So we have to be very tough in consciousness, because in Bhagavad Gita 2.14 and 5.20, Krishna says very nicely. In 5.20, he says, "Na prakrasyate priyam prapya, not vijet prapya cha priyam." So priyam means like okay, the pleasant, and apriyam means like the unpleasant. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is all already situated in transcendence. Okay, if we are able to practice this pleasant moment and the unpleasant moment as same, then we are already situated in the transcendence. Okay, that is as good as like you already reached the Lord. So that has to be understood very clearly. Then the other thing is like a matra sparsastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha. Ahama apayino anitya tam stititva bharata. Like one son of Kundi, the non-permanent, like he's saying here, ahama apayino. Like ahama means appearing and disappearing. Apayino disappearing. Then anitya, which is non-permanent, like one who is tolerating, like he is situated in the transcendence. Like so, that has been very nicely explained by Lord. So all these things, like without the approval of the Lord, nothing will happen in our life. Like that has to be very well understood, like by us, and we need to just practice our life like in that manner. So okay, we have to be tough in our consciousness. Then how we can keep reminding ourselves is like in one particular place, like the king announced, um, it is by my birthday, like okay, tomorrow. So whomsoever brings the best of the gift will get like okay the 5 lakh rupees. Then immediately like many are trying to get like a big gift, but one gift like attracted the king very much, the ring. It is a very normal ring, like not even golden or like a silver ring. It's a very normal ring, like a, then the king, the others were like a perplexed, how come this ring got chosen as a best gift. Then in that ring, like what was mentioned is, this too shall pass away. The happiness, when happiness comes, like a, you need to you should not rejoice so much, because like a, that will pass away as well. And when the tough situation comes, like a, that time also you don't need to bother too much, because like a, this too shall pass away. Because we are in this material world, it is a dukale mashashwadam. There is no permanent happiness, there is no permanent misery also, like because it will keep on happening, like the happiness and distress situation. Okay, why we should not bother about happiness and distress? Because like what happens is, once we bother about this happiness and distress, we will keep on like a dwell into that particular thing. For example, today is very cold. Okay, if you start talking about to others, okay, today is very cold, you know, like because of coldness you may get a lot of problem, like you may get cough and cold, your health will spoil. Then we will waste our time like by in talking about that. We will start from the coldness, then AC, we will go into like the US, UK, everywhere, like we will travel by, if you take one particular topic. If for example like a Shen one passed away yesterday, so if we start one particular thing, then we will talk about okay, his ball of the century, where like he bowled some great batsman in England. So how he could not able to get defeated by like a Sachin, because Sachin thrashed away like a sand one. So we will go into places like a by just a topic, picking one topic. So that is the reason like we should not bother, or we should not more concerned about like the happiness and distress. The tolerate the dualities, like again Krishna says in 6.7, we need to tolerate the dualities, which is like a jitatmanaha prasantasya paramatma samahitaha sitoshna suga dukkashu dukeshu tada mana payano. Okay, for one who has conquered the mind, that is possible only one who is able to control the mind. The super soul is already reached, for he has attained the tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So here how we can understand is, happiness and the distress, this heat and cold is like a experienced by our senses, which is our body, like okay. Then happiness and distress is experienced by our mind, and honor and dishonor is experienced by our intelligence. Like a, all these things are same, because they are connected with the higher purpose, they control the mind. So that heat and cold, the bodily related stuff, happiness and distress, which is like related to the mind, the honor and dishonor, which is related to the intelligence, everything is like a same for them. That is how like the yogis are able to perform the connection to the Lord, like even though they are in Himalayas, or like they are in they don't have any duality like with these things. So then in the time of interest, like I'll move away a little fast. Uh, more we talk about the material things, like our mind gets polluted. More we talk about the spiritual thing, like a mind is clean and eligible to do the devotion service. So that has to be like a understood. Then everything, like a Lord is only orchestrating without his approval. Nothing starts like a, so we need to understand that. Then in the Bharata pastime also, like in the once he came into the deer format, like he practiced like a four important things. One is though the deer, like he never stayed in Kalanjara mountain. He came to the Pulasra ashrama, like where he performed bhakti while he was as Bharata Maharaj. Then his austerity, he was doing austerity even in the deer's body. But how? Because like he was eating only the dry grass and not leafy grass. Like so, that is very important, because austerity is very important for us to understand the higher purpose. Then listening to saintly kings, like okay, because in the Pulahasrama he was listening to the saintly kings preachings. Then repentance, like he was always on the repentance mode, where I was thinking how this aho custom, like a how unfortunate I was, because I left all my kingdom, because he was ruling for 100 lakh years, like Bharata Maharaj, and he was repenting. I left my whole kingdom, my queen, my sons, everyone. But I came here to do the to practice bhakti. But here, like I got attracted to the deer. Like how unfortunate that repentance was there. So by doing that repentance, he was spiritually advanced, though he was in a materially fallen body. Like this austerity and repentance is very important. In one of the class, like a Santako Prabhu also taken this austerity and repentance, like because we came out from Krishna. So how we can go back to Krishna only by practicing these two things. One is austerity, and second is like a repentance. These two things only can take us back to the Goloka. So we need to hear and learn, and like experience and learn. By having this hear and learn and experience and learn, we'll be able to connect to the Lord. So because in this material things, like many things we know, many things we don't know. So we need to be aware of the things, like by connecting to the Lord and his devotees. By hear and learn, like we need to educate our mind. Okay, these are the things taken great personalities, like away from their spiritual life, or like this shana matram. It is only that shana is required, one moment of the uh, life is required to connect to the Lord and to disconnect to the Lord. Take from examples of Vishwamitra, like how many years he performed the bhakti, but like only one anklet sound, like a get away his whole spiritual thing. And the same way, like Ajamila also, the same way, how one particular moment, like the uh, uh, Jadabharadas, like how that particular moment taken him connect to the Lord. So that is how, like we need to realize. So whatever talks, like you've been associated with, you need to just understand whether it is going to uplift for my spiritual progress or not. Then only, like go for that particular association. If any neutral, or like if any association is going to degrade your consciousness, don't get associated. Completely ignore, like because if you get associated with the guys, like who is not performing the bhakti, then you may get like a deviated from your path also. So that is very important. The hospital doctor, like is very important. Why? Because the spiritual progress, in the spiritual process, if you go to the hospital, there are n number of patients are there. You don't need to analyze other patients. Okay, what he I think, like he got affected with the stomach pain, he got affected with like a the head injury, or like a head pain or heart attack. Like you don't need to analyze, like that doctor has the history of all the patients, and he will analyze everything. But we don't need to analyze about others the disease, because we go to the hospital like to cure our own disease. The same way, the spiritual master is the doctor who will cure all the disciples problem. So we don't need to mention, okay, this particular disciple is not practicing bhakti in this manner, because that is the activity of a spiritual master. He will take care. So by having this particular thought in the mind, we will get away from doing like a Vaishnava aparat or Prajalpa or like all those things. But at the same time, like if the disciple is so much deviating from the path of devotion service, you can highlight this to Guru Maharaj, or like you can highlight this to the authority, but you don't take the charge like to correct that particular devotee. So that is very important. So when we are in a calm state, like ensure that you practice, you develop, or you get the experience like by doing the sadhana and devotion service, so that like when you are coming into the very tough situation, you are able to practice it. How like okay, milk is getting diluted if you add the water, but at the same time, when the milk is like a converted into butter, you put the butter into the water, it will not dilute. The same way, when we are in the butter state, where calm state, like a you get to perform your sadhana in a very nice manner. I think I will have to skip a lot. Prabhu, is it okay if I take another 5 minutes? I know I already very delayed. Take the silence as yes, Prabhu. So this we already saw, like a devotee turns to Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, how to think about how to think and act in times of difficulty. Like okay, because the scriptures will come as a great rescue for all of us to think and act like during the difficulty times. So because this Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is filled with a lot of description and of the inevitability of change in this material world, because it is nothing but like a Lord and Lord's devotees pastimes, how this devotee experienced that situation like in a right manner, in a wrong manner. So these are the things like when Arjuna was in trouble, like how Krishna's teaching changed him. When Dhritarashtra was in a very worst condition, like how Vidra's teaching helped him like to come out to come out from the material thing and to go back to the spiritual thing. So that is how like the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam is filled with like the teachings, and which will help us for us to do like how to think and act in the difficult times. So one disciple asked like Srila Prabhupada, one devotee was performing very good devotion service. Due to some unavoidable situation, like he get away and he completely disconnected himself like from the spiritual thing. So then immediately like that other disciple asking, Srila Prabhupada, it was like a very strange, and I got surprised. He got disengaged like from a spiritual thing. Then Srila Prabhupada told, no, don't get surprised by people going away from Krishna consciousness. You just be very surprised by who stays in Krishna consciousness, because people come and go, but one who stays in Krishna consciousness is very, very rare. Like so, be surprised with that particular thing, not with the other thing. And we already saw like a tall building. When you see, when you connect to the higher and see the building, it may look like a very, very small. The same way, problem also the same thing. Remain in turbulent times, like so. We should not think, okay, I am a devotee, how it is possible for this situation, like this turbulent situation can happen. We never can question to Krishna, because like even Lord Ram gone into many turbulent situation. Even Prahlad Maharaj, like take any devotee. Just because you are devotee, like you will not get problem, you will get problem as long as you are in this material world. There is no getting away from that particular thing. So is it possible like from this particular lifetime to cross the material suffering? Yes, it is possible. We have seen many instances like in the scripture. All of them like got into the spiritual realizations by doing the devotional thing in this particular material world, and it is possible like we know like Ajamila, how that without the remembering the Lord, like he chanted his holy name, still it has like that effect. So that these things like to be understood very clearly. And don't expect the result. Okay, just to perform the bhakti, and you will be able to see the result. Okay, in our the disciple asked to move the mountain. Okay, one spiritual master told, okay, you need to move the mountain, which is very big and very heavy, from this particular location. After you need to cross this like a 2 kilometer. But that disciple is trying, he could not able to do anything. So after 1 week, like Maharaj is asking, how much you moved. He told like I have not moved even an inch. Maharaj told, okay, that is fine, absolutely fine. I will give you full marks. Then he was saying like, hey, how it is possible, I have not even moved an inch. Then Maharaj is saying, no, by putting your effort, you developed your biceps like and you become healthy. So that is what he sees. Like a Lord sees the effort, not the result. In our own thing, like we will try to see, okay, this activity has to be completed, then only it becomes success. But Krishna sees, okay, just you put the effort, and I will give you 100 or 200% like for the effort which you put. That is what important. And that has been explained very nicely in the 18.58 sloka. If you become consciousness of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. Okay, machita sarva durgani, everything you will be able to pass. And you do not work in the consciousness, like you will get into this material world. So the other key learning, like three things. One is tolerate reversals externally, then remain cheerful all the time internally, then stay fixed in your duty, like put your effort, Lord will fulfill. Like then the we should plan our spiritual life like in a better manner. We need to have the spiritual discussion. Then knowledge transmission has to be happening. Then heart transformation has to happen like a with the association. So that can be possible only with the Shravanam, reading, and the association. Then menial service attitude, like a menial service is very important. Then do analysis of the plan, like how well we are progressing in our spiritual life, like so that is important. So hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, like that has to be the thing. And this we already saw. So key takeaways, this one which um, we need to control the mind. We are not controlling the mind, like then control mind will control us. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Feed and fence, like that is very important, because to better focus the mind, like with abhyasa you feed the mind, and with renunciation you fence the mind. Then Shravanam, reading, association, menial service attitude, and analysis, like a very important for us to do the devotion service. Then spiritual discussion is important. Then the purpose, like the determination comes with a higher purpose, then only we can come out the overcome the temptation. So then bhakti is not about emptying mind, but from the temptation, but crowd our mind with like a Krishna's pastimes and seva. Sorry again, like a for taking longer time to complete my section. So all glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So if I talk anything wrongly or like a, please forgive me and bless me, so that like I get the right mood. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sorry, Prabhu, for rushing it. Himanshu Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Then pranam to you again. What a fantastic class, packed with so much content, great references from all over, and started with a beautiful introduction. So many takeaways, and something which we all know. It's something basic and fundamental to us, but it is so difficult to practice. So beautifully explained, and so many examples and suggestions given. So I guess Venkat Prabhu, I think he dropped. So I would first request Tanvini Mataji to share her realization and comments.
Nandini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry. I was distracted. Sorry, engaged. I actually tried my best. One of the best lectures I've heard. Mind is my favorite topic because this is the one that the battle goes on really with. I didn't miss. So I just want to start off with, Himanshu Prabhuji. Was very nice bhajan, Himanshu Prabhuji. And very nicely, the way you sing, such humility reflects in that singing that immediately, whatever you're singing, it's just lovable. So thank you very much for, brightening up the day. Hassan Prabhuji, this topic, as I said, the mind is something that is very difficult, and the battle goes on with this mind only. Like I know Niti Shastra says, Markatasya Surapanam Madhye Vrishtik Dashanam Tan Madhye Bhut Sancharo Yudha Tadha Bhavishyati. That says that mind is a monkey, and the monkey, we know how what the Shastras say about this Markat, the monkey, that it is difficult to control, and the monkey. So so just imagine if this mind is drinking wine. If already it's Surapanam, drinking wine, and then after, so the mind, the monkey drinks the wine, then it after drinking the wine, if bitten by a scorpio, so the scorpio bite, when at the time of death, they say the number of Scorpios that they bite us, 42,000. So just imagine if this mind is being bitten at that time, and what makes it worse. So this is something, this is how this mind is. So you explained very nicely, Prabhuji, the way to Krishna understands, and because he guards us also, and he guides us also, and you explained how we should be taking that guidance and to control this mind, feeding and fencing. I really like that. What I just wanted to ask, Roji, is because I missed that part, and I know I'll have to listen to this lecture again, but I might not get time, since guests are there and everything for some time. So I just want to know, you had said that for Sugriva, there were two instances that he was deflected. What was the second instance you spoke about?
Second one, Mataji, like it is while he was crossing the ocean, the bridge, like to go back to go to Lanka. So during that time, Ravana understood like the power of Sugriva's army. Then he was giving like a bribing him. I will give you so much wealth. Can you please come to my side? Then during that time, Sugriva is completely rejecting that offer, and he didn't get tempted because he has a higher purpose. He has the determination to bring Sita back to Rama. So that is the, when we have a higher purpose and a higher determination, then we will not get tempted.
Okay, no, you okay. So I miss it. You said the first time was that he got deflected from the path. The second one was he didn't get deflected.
Yeah, he didn't get deflected. Yeah, because now this time he has a higher purpose, so he didn't get deflected. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So okay. So then I probably misheard. All right, fine. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Very nice. I now request Ati Sundari Mataji and Sadhu Seven Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Daltalam. Prabhu, am I audible now, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So thanks a lot, Himanshu Prabhuji, the nice bhajan that you sang, and the rhythm and that variation that you had in your voice, Prabhu, that was it was reminding us of like we're sitting in some great South Indian temple, and then many Pandit reciting that kind of yagya kind of vibrations were coming, Prabhu, from your bhajan. So thanks a lot, Prabhu. It was unique. And Vasant Prabhuji, very, very nice, important, practical, daily use topic, Prabhu, because all of us are in great need of understanding this, Prabhu. So Prabhu, I'll just add a few things, Prabhu, like mind has been putting us into problems for so many lives, and still we are not stopping relying on this mind, and we engage all our senses in the service of the mind wherever it says. So it is kind of a disease, and it is like, Prabhu, innocence in ignorance. Means we have not been aware of the fact that we are in ignorance. So we were innocent because we were ignorant. Now, His Holiness Bhakti Brad Bhagavad Swami Maharaj was telling Prabhu this thing, that when he joined ISKCON and came to KC, he started seeing his sins. So our journey is from innocence in ignorance to guilty in knowledge. We should at least be aware of the sins or the problems that we are into. So that knowledge makes us feel guilty that why we have been doing so many things. So now what is the choice? See, if we had to reject and override and force this mind, Krishna would have given us a small robot which he could control. But that is not the purpose. Krishna designed Brahma, Brahma designed us. There could have been so many ways that we could be timed, right? For so many kalpas you enjoy. Like we often discuss, we send our son to a safe place because he is not listening us. But do we not call him back? We stop paying for his expenses, right? When we because we want our son back. So it could be timed. I mean, this could be one of the options. Sorry, out of my ignorance, I'm saying. I mean, I'm suggesting how Krishna could do it, or how Brahma could design this. So the point is, there was a purpose, that we were not timed to be free for some time. So, and the reason is this very same mind is our greatest asset. As you rightly told, Prabhu, that like man mana bhava mad bhakto, right? And savay man Krishna padar vindyor. So Krishna wants only this mind from us, and other things will follow. Now, what is the difficulty? Why this mind is not surrendering? We still have hopes that maybe some juice is still left in this world which we are yet to experience, and then maybe we will be done. We are being fooled every single day, but we are not losing the hope. So we are very, very having great hopes against hope. We are doing everything. But the problem is like we are searching in a different place, right? As a small, I mean, to the last line, Prabhu, Krishna, if Prabhupada comes and appears in front of us and tells, you have done enough for charity in this life. After 20 years or 30 years or 5 years, when you die, you will come back to me. Let us live our life with this statement, because Krishna Prabhupada has written this thing in their books, right? So why should we do it? Because with this knowledge that this is my last life, and then I will go to Krishna, maybe I will live for another 200 years. The way our consciousness will be for looking at the problems, the very same problems that we are dealing and failing and miserably failing and again, will change. Because there are two nice examples. Like one is Mukunda, right? In Chaitanya Charitamrita. I can't remember, maybe 10 million years, 10 or 1 million years, he will come back to me. He was so joyful because he knew that he will be going. And in fifth canto, first canto, fifth chapter, that Narada's example, where Krishna tells, that's it, in this life, winning problems, the very same problem will change. I don't know what degree we'll call it, 180 degree or, right? So mind is our greatest asset. It has been given to us for a purpose. We never fail using this very same mind in our own service, in serving our senses. We just have to tell this mind that this is enough, boss. Not enough, because we are not 5 years. We have suffered. We will lose our memory in next birth, right? But this birth memory are there with that list. I cannot remember how brutally I was killed when I was a crocodile, because a bigger crocodile ate me. I cannot remember this. It is just a theory. I mean, just like that I told. But I remember, right? Day before yesterday, what has happened? I mean, it is again an example. Day before yesterday. So 2 years back, what does happen? So why are we not learning from there? So in the last 10 seconds, Prabhu, the mind can go to only those places where our, like discussed earlier also, like senses, if I tell you a bluish forest in Canada, how long will you be able to meditate? And will we be able to remember tomorrow? And if tomorrow, then will we be able to remember day after tomorrow? No, mostly not, because we have not been there. So wherever our senses go, so if a newborn baby has been born in, for example, in a temple, right? Dr. Frog's theory, we have been misled, right? We have spent so many lives of ours misusing Dr. Frog's theory, right? Because we don't know what is the outside world. But why not to use it positively? we, very same frog, like a frog, have been born and always kept in a temple, and have ever always seen the Aarti, then Kirtan, then the Prasadam, then some serve, even know who is Shah Rukh Khan and what does it mean. So that's it, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dharantanam. Sorry, Prabhu, I took longer. And I need your blessings, Prabhu. I'm not well to go back to Delhi today morning. I fall sick, so need few extra hours in the sun.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. We could able to hear your heart, Prabhu, like that is very nicely explained. Like I just want to highlight one quote. When Srila Prabhupada is mentioning to Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, we given so many lifetimes to Maya, but this one lifetime, like give it to Krishna by giving your mind. So that you nicely mentioned, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So is Ati Sundari Mataji also with us?
No, Prabhuji, no, she's not available.
She couldn't join. Okay, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji.
So then I request Purna Mataji and
No,
Sant Prabhuji.
she is not here now, Purna. So
Okay,
I can take up. Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure.
Prabhu, nice kirtan, Prabhu. You, I remember last time as well. You had sung something new, which was new for me, and we all loved it. So I'm not sure if you were aware of all these kirtans earlier, bhajans, or you are learning new. You're experimenting with new bhajans. You are learning new bhajans, which is something really nice, Prabhu. And I should also implement this process wherein I use this opportunity to learn something new. Haribol, Prabhu. It was very nice, Prabhu. You sung very well, and thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Vasant Prabhu, very nice session on a very important topic, mind. And I think you have mentioned it all. Probably just to add a couple of things. One thing which always, I mean, usually in the subtle body, we say that more subtler from the gross body, more subtle is mind. From the mind, more subtle is intelligence, and then it is more subtle is self ego, false ego, and then it is a self, Atma. And more the subtler, more stronger it has to be, as per the principles. But mind is so powerful that it is kind of subduing his subtler what do you say intelligence. So intelligence, even though it is technically stronger than mind, it is that most of the time mind keeps controlling the intelligence, and it keeps controlling by luring it into few things. So intelligence doesn't act very intelligently, so it is it keeps fooling it, and this is how tricky mind is. And other thing which I liked is, Prabhu, when you said which I remember is recollect is, which you said is our movement, I mean, we should focus on Krishna, and this is what I think the essence of our movement is. So we should be focusing on connecting with Krishna, and automatically disconnecting from the material world. The disconnection takes place. So it is mentioned that Prabhupada, when he initiated the first set of devotees, he did not tell them much about the four regulatory principles and so on and so forth. So what was supposed to do, he said, just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that's all. And it is that later they were told about the four regulatory principles. So initially, when he wanted to connect them to the movement, it was just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that is how I think we can, if not say control, but at least to some extent control our mind. It is just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But whereas if we keep focusing on other activities which mind is already heavily engaged with, like you said, Prajalpa and many other things. So in that case, we would actually be, we are kind of declaring a war on the mind. We are putting our efforts to fight the mind, even though we are stronger than the mind. But right now those efforts are of no use. Is not a great weapon against the mind. So hence we require we can nuclear weapon of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And when we use that, then our way is paved into this what to say to kind of taking from disconnecting from the material world. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagya. So that is the Yukta Vairagya. When we disconnect from the, when we connect to Krishna, or you connect everything in relation to Krishna, then things are sorted out. So thank you, Prabhu. I will for the very nice session. Thank you, Himanshu Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji. So I'm not sure, Vasant Prabhuji, where Preeta Mataji could join. If she joined, then I request her.
She is here, Prabhu. She is going to pass
Hare
that
Krishna,
on.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Himanshu Prabhuji, for the nice Kirtan Prabhu, and as always, blissful start. And great to hear from you after a long time, Prabhu. And you have set the mood of Tirupati by hearing that Govinda itself, like you have taken us to Tirupati, Prabhu. So coming to Vasant Prabhuji, thank you so much for enlightening us and guided through the topic of mind. Though like we hear many times about this topic, but every time we get the new way of approaching that, and also how to control, though we are in this material world being distracted in many ways. So mainly I liked the examples and analogies, whatever you connected. Then my main takeaway would be like our purpose, we should have that higher purpose, and that purpose gives us that determination or drida mindset, and also it forms the platforms to overcome that temptation. So like by just utilizing this human life as an opportunity to realize ourselves, and instead of degrading by neglecting that opportunity, so we can just try to solve that issues whatever we have in our life. So as Krishna also said in 18.65, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyajivam Namaskaru Mamme Visyasi Satyante Pradijane Priyaswami. So like how you can become the pure devotee of mind, just by concentrating the mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. So by this way, like we will get enlightened with the knowledge, and we will be able to discriminate what is wrong or what is correct. And we will be more conscious of Krishna conscious activities, and we can deviate our desires to the spiritual thing rather than materially connected. So these the modes which we can deviate our desires are like only that sadhana, bhakti, association, Vaishnava seva, and the Prabhupada books. So and also the second takeaway is like the feeding and fencing. So how we have to feed our bhakti, and how we have to put a full stop to our barriers for other material things. So nicely covered, and thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So before I give it back to Vasant Prabhuji to wrap it up, I just want to add few comments. So one, I read somewhere that Dalai Lama was being interviewed, and he was being asked on the same question. So he said, I also get the impulses, but I do not act on it. So Vasant Prabhuji explained this so beautifully. I attended one class from His Grace Sarvabhaum Prabhuji in Bahrain. So he said, whenever a good thought comes to you, immediately act on it. And Vasant Prabhuji explained this. And if something bad comes to your mind, then don't act on it, delay it. So even in our material world, sometimes we get very angry in the office environment. We type a response, then we should not press the send button. If we just hold it, and then if we see it after some time or on the next day, maybe we'll change our mind, change the content, or may not send it at all. So yeah, so many very good examples, Vasant Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So back to you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks a lot, for all your comments, and it's very valuable. With your all association, only we can have a higher purpose, and which will get a good determination to come out from that tempting material world. Hare Krishna. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. We will just have all of your darshan. Probably, Sant Prabhu, you can stop the recording so that we can have the darshan.